Today, Denver police released dramatic footage of an officer's response to a fight that left 2 men dead. Thanks for joining us at 4 o'clock. I'm Tom Green.
And I'm Kim Christensen. This shooting happened last week at a 7-Eleven at 35th and Colorado Boulevard. That officer came on scene just as the killings just happened and exchanged gunfire with the suspected shooter. Kevin Vaughn from 9 News Investigates joins us. And Kevin, this incident was tragic, but it sounds like it could have been much, much worse.
Kim and Tom, that officer was shot at an unknown number of times, and yet somehow he came away without a scratch. We're showing a Denver police officer's body camera footage. Footage that makes it possible to understand the gunfight that followed and the shocking reality that no one got hit.
Put your hands up!
No one.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Really just by the grace of God that our officer did go home.
Today, Denver Police Chief Ron Thomas and Commander Matt Clark walked reporters through the details of the January 27th incident.
Transparency is very important, and so I think that this is certainly something of significant community concern.
An incident in which 2 groups of people got into a dispute inside a 7-Eleven, and then a fight outside, and then gunfire that would leave 2 men dead.
It was an encounter where they came together for different purposes, getting drinks or gas at the gas station.
The officer arrived moments later. Stills from his camera showing a man on the ground, another near a car, a muzzle flash, and the officer firing back.
He's going westbound on Bruce!
Then he ran after the man as he fled.
Party's down at the gas station!
Fled down alleys.
He jumped the fence up across the street, the McDonald's. I need a perimeter set up.
Police found the suspect hiding in a shed, a gun resting in the snow. The man faces charges of firing on that officer and other crimes, but as of now, he has not been charged with killing the 2 men who died. That gun that the officers found in the snow was privately manufactured. That means it could have been made with a 3D printer or from parts that are available on the internet. Such guns have no serial number and cannot be traced. They're often referred to as ghost guns. Live in the newsroom, Kevin Vaughn, 9 News.
You know, so often we request this kind of video. In this case, you know, it's great that the police are saying we want to be transparent, but also gives us real insight into the seconds of something like this and how dangerous that was for that officer.
Yeah, Kim, unlike many other departments, Denver has actually been proactively releasing body cam footage. This incident happened just 8 days ago, and today they made that footage public.
All right, yeah. Well, I think it helps us all learn and appreciate what they do in so many ways. Thanks, Kevin.
Taking a live look outside, the cloud cover was there most of the day today for most of the state. Certainly a cooler day. Our Weather Impact team tracking the winds that are a big part of the forecast for tomorrow. Our chief meteorologist, Kathy Sabin, is with us now. And Kathy, tomorrow could be one of those days where it's not a lot of fun to be out there.
No, at least it'll be warmer, right?
Yeah.
This shallow layer of Arctic air just did not budge today. That low cloud cover, the fog really settling into the metro area. And the Arctic air mass and the winds out of the east and southeast brought a wide variety of temperatures. 60 in Parker and Castle Rock, 50 up in Broomfield and Boulder, 30s out at the airport, mid-40s downtown. The big story here is the winds will be shifting out of the southwest tonight. That's going to scour out that really cold air. But wow, this was a tough forecast today, and the numbers just all over the place. I mean, 56 currently in Trinidad, 35 at DIA, 30 in Greeley, 44 in Colorado Springs. So the winds right now are light, but as Tom mentioned, they will be increasing, coming in with full force out of the west and southwest. And while that will bring us a sunny day tomorrow, and temperatures in the mid-60s. The wind will be a bit damaging and destructive for those that have small objects outdoors along the foothills, or if you're trying to drive a high-profile vehicle over elevated terrain. Where we're tracking a few scattered light snow showers, we will see gradual clearing tonight, patchy fog early, and then the skies will clear. The big story tomorrow will be the wind with isolated foothills showers, and over the next few hours, temperatures kind of mid-30s, low 40s in downtown Denver, with some of the coolest temperatures off to the east. So that Arctic front, we'll say goodbye to it tomorrow. A nice warm day tomorrow, but I got to give you that wind forecast in detail. It will be impactful for so many of you. That forecast is just ahead.
The uncertainty over expected ICE operations in Colorado continues to cause anxiety in communities that have seen major immigration events before. In 2006, more than 100 federal workers raided the Swift meatpacking plant in Greeley. 262 people were arrested for charges including identity theft and being in the country without proper documentation. The raids drew large crowds to the plant, including family members who were uncertain if their loved ones would be coming home from work.
My husband was very scared. He's here legally, and he said they were very rude and abusive to the employees. So they lined them up against the wall and would not let them speak to each other. And we didn't find out till I think like midnight that he was okay, that they had released him. But I know a lot of people got deported at that time.
More than 1,000 people at 5 other meat processing plants were also arrested across the country that day.
In national news, dozens of Marines are now headed to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, at the direction of President Trump. Those Marines will be joining other military personnel already on the ground, with the idea that the massive facility could hold up to 30,000 migrants. Last week, President Trump signed an executive order clearing the way for the detained migrants to be housed there. A trade war with China now closer to reality as the two largest economies in the world exchange tariffs.
And the question is, can the two sides find some common ground before consumers start to see the rising prices? NBC's Gabe Gutierrez has more.
The U.S. and China have just days to avoid a trade war, or Americans' pocketbooks could be hit hard. China announcing next week it'll impose a tariff on energy imports, as well as some U.S. products.
It's fine. We're going to do very well against China and against everybody else.
That retaliation comes just minutes after President Trump's 10% tariff on all Chinese imports took effect. China imposing a 15% import tax on coal and liquefied natural gas, as well as a 10% tariff on crude oil, farm equipment, and various cars and trucks. And taking aim at electronics, announcing export controls on rare earths, elements essential to all high-tech products, infrared missiles, and electric car batteries. President Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping now expected to talk soon.
We'll speak to him at the appropriate time. I'm in no rush.
Leaders of the world's largest economies both looking for leverage in a standoff that could have staggering global impacts. Meanwhile, the Trump administration's federal aid freeze and dismantling of the U.S. Agency for International Development causing confusion among those who help people in need and sparking protests.
It's not disrupting, it's destruction. And it's destruction that means that people will suffer across the country.
He promised it during his campaign. Tonight, Americans across the country and leaders around the world are feeling what the president calls his America First agenda firsthand. Meanwhile, President Trump meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, his first meeting with a foreign leader here at the White House since taking office. And it comes amid an ongoing ceasefire with Hamas. Gabe Gutierrez, NBC News, Washington.
Also developing today, more than 1,000 Environmental Protection Agency employees have been told they could be dismissed immediately. The Trump administration emailed the message to about 1,100 EPA employees last week. It's not clear how many will be targeted for cuts. The email comes during a strong push by the Trump administration to downsize the government. Tonight on Next with Kyle Clark, our Mark Salinger is continuing to follow the impact on federal workers here in Colorado. You can see his report tonight at 6 o'clock.
So while the tariffs on Canada are now paused, Canadians still are not happy with the Trump administration.
Canadian sports fans have been booing the U.S. national anthem at home games like in Vancouver on Sunday night before the Canucks face Detroit. Now, Canucks fans were nice enough to cheer for the singer when the anthem was finished. The Avs are in Vancouver tonight. We'll see what happens there. They'll play their next 3 games in Canada. That's check on whether the pattern continues.
Interesting to see if things...
There's a pause, but that doesn't mean there's not a little concern and frustration on both sides.
And I did expect the Canadian fans to still cheer for the singer. They're generally very nice and polite and friendly people. So
Singer was great.
we'll see what it sounds like in Vancouver tonight. They follow that with games in Calgary and Edmonton.